And we are live, allegedly. Let people jump on here. Getting ready to do a live book signing. If you haven't ordered a copy yet, well, you know what to do. BeyondStadiumStatus.com. You know what to do. I am doing an interesting thing. We are going live on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. So if you see me not looking into a particular camera and just kind of staring out into space, it's because I'm trying to give everyone my divided attention. How's that for a description? So now I'm jumping on YouTube, going to get a stream set up on that, if it would cooperate, and then we'll get a Facebook Live set up. Add a title. So technology is not cooperating with me. Live book Q&A and signing. Trying to let people jump on here on Facebook as well. Hello and welcome. We are on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Hello Facebook, hello Instagram, and YouTube. We've got a, bear with me. We are book signing. No quick, easy way to do this. When you're a solopreneur and do not have your trusty assistant with you, aka Kitty Power. My daughter helped out with the camera for the live signing yesterday, and yeah, today it's a different story. So why can I not? So for whatever reason, YouTube is not cooperating. Does anyone know why YouTube would not be cooperating with me? So I just wanted to come on, and while we're waiting for YouTube to kind of queue up, I'm going to answer some questions. Having a cocktail this evening to celebrate the very successful launch of the new book. Shipped out a ton of copies yesterday from our pre-orders and our pre-order contest. If you're following on Instagram, Facebook, any of these platforms, and you're wondering who won, well, Ron Weish won the golden ticket. He wins an air guitar and some other fabulous prizes that will go in the air guitar case. And Scott Sargent won the silver ticket, which is a rotary phone, and third place, the bronze ticket, was Gabriel Thusen. If anything could go wrong with technology right now, it is. And I can't figure out why. So those are our prize winners. Gabe Thusen, third place. Scott Sargent, second place. And grand prize winner is Ron Weish. Scott's in Connecticut. Gabe is in Utah. Ron is in South Carolina, formerly of Georgia, if I'm not mistaken. Try and keep track of where people are and where they're coming from. We shipped orders, man, I want to say 26 different states yesterday. I got to log into, hang on, live book signing. Trying to create a live stream here for YouTube for people there because Instagram makes it challenging to Makes it very challenging to go live for whatever reason. And then download the video later to upload it onto another platform. So Chip Eichelberger in the comments saying hello on Facebook Live. Hello, Chip. Chip is a wonderful colleague, speaking colleague, mentor, and friend. Someone I really lean on for advice, counsel, and wisdom. And if you have any advice, counsel, or wisdom for me navigating this stupid live stream on YouTube, that'd be fabulous. I don't know that anyone can help me with that, though, right now. I am absolutely technologically handicapped, technologically challenged out the wazoo today. It's been a long week. I hope everybody had a good week. Just waiting for more people to jump on. Chip Eichelberger just said, sign me up for buying a copy. Where is it? Here. The first book was amazing. Yes, the first book was amazing. You can probably see it over my shoulder, over there. Stadium Status. That was an Amazon bestseller, international bestseller. Amazon is absolutely awful to deal with, though. So I am not selling this book on Amazon. I'm actively trying to remove all my books from that platform. Jeff Bezos doesn't need any more money, and he really kind of screws authors. So the only place you can get this book is on my website, beyondstadiumstatus.com. Again, that URL is beyondstadiumstatus.com. If you have not already purchased a copy, you can go there at your convenience and do that sooner rather than later. Daddy's got to pay the bills. We got one kid who is now driving, and the other one who is, well, I have 2 daughters. So if you have daughters, you know what I'm saying. They're freaking expensive, people. Like, daughters are expensive. So are wives. So if you all have any questions, feel free to fire them into the comments. I've got a handful of questions that readers have emailed in. I couldn't get to all the questions last live stream on Instagram Live. So doing that now and trying desperately to go live on YouTube as well while I talk to you. Kids, don't try this at home because it's called multitasking, and that's not healthy, right? Like, don't we tell kids not to multitask? So take the first question, and reader Randy emails in, favorite and least favorite part of publishing a book. And then we'll get to signing some of these. I want to take the first question while we're having some other people log in and join the conversation. Happy Friday to you. The favorite and least favorite part of publishing a book, I look at it as it's kind of like giving, I'm going to get in trouble for saying this. I'm not going to get canceled. Not like canceled trouble, but trouble like women are going to be angry. And you don't want women angry at you. But I look at it kind of like giving birth. And I know women are going to say, you have no idea what it's like to give birth or how painful it is. You're right. But here's how I look at it, like giving birth. For me, like my writing process, once I'm rolling, it usually start to finish takes 9 months. You know, like I had a lot of this thing written before the pandemic started, but it was informal. It was more me journaling my thoughts. And, you know, like I was going to just put that out there later and piece it together. It's kind of like putting together a jigsaw puzzle. And, 9 months is typically what it is. The last 2 months, the further you get into the pregnancy that is a book, so to speak. Again, analogy, ladies, don't get offended, don't get angry. Analogy, the last couple months in the 3rd trimester of a book tend to be the toughest because you're carrying more around. Literally, there's like more stuff that you have for your project. There's more in your head, and all the editing takes place, which is the really tough part. There's an old saying, I don't remember who said it. It might have been Mark Twain. They said there are no great writers, only great rewriters. So think about that. There are no great writers, only great rewriters, because so much of what you're doing is editing. You are writing, and everybody's first draft usually sucks. If it doesn't suck, consider yourself lucky. That's a blessing, because just about everyone's first draft should suck. So I gotta log into YouTube again. Please. If anyone wants to come over here and help get this thing rolling, that would be great. What time is it? It's 6:10. I'm just going to set this for 6:15 and hope it comes on. How about that? So there are no great writers, only great rewriters, and I spent a lot of time rewriting this, editing and cleaning it up. And that's probably the least favorite part, because again, another analogy, it's not the same. It's not as physically challenging and painful. I get it. It's a lot like running a marathon. You start out early, you're all energized. The further you get in, like the last couple of miles, it's hard because you're tired, you're fatigued mentally, physically drained. It's exhausting, and you're just kind of like trudging to the finish line, or at least I was when I ran a marathon. You're trudging to the finish line. You're kind of dragging to the finish line with a book a lot of times. And I just think that's the reality of it. And if it's not a challenge, if it's not hard for you, I'm going to say you probably didn't write a good book, or you don't have a good editor. It should be exhausting, and it should be tough, and they should push you and challenge you, and make you rethink things. I think a good editor is like a good coach. That's what a good coach does as well. They make you rethink things, think things differently. They have a different lens through which they view the exact same thing that you're viewing. And a lot of times we're a little too close to the situation to have perspective. Can't see the forest through the trees, can't see the picture, and you're trapped inside the frame. And it does in other analogies like that. So yeah, that I think is my least favorite part, is that kind of slog to the finish line. My most favorite part is tastes so good when it hits your lips. My most favorite part of the writing process is when I first see the cover concept and I get a vision. I do the cover usually first, well before I've even written the book, because I want to make sure that I put that out there, I get feedback on it, and I want to make sure that people know it's real, it's going to happen. Part of that is me tricking my own brain. I took pre-orders for this thing like 8 months ago and promoted it for, the better part of 8 months, taking pre-orders, running a contest, and people got to see the cover. The people that pre-ordered got to see the genesis of the cover, kind of got a peek behind the curtain. As to like the draft of the book, how I write, where I write, what I do, the cover design, evolution, how we finally landed on this cover. And I will tell you this, if anyone can figure out what the cover concept is based on, I will send you a free copy of the book, signed copy. So you tell me if you can figure out what the cover concept's based on. And if you can, think outside the book business, which is where I get all my ideas. I never get any ideas from inside the industry. That's not how I roll. I think your best ideas always come from outside your industry, wherever you are. But if you can tell me what the cover design concept is from, I'll send you a free signed copy. And if you pre-ordered and you're on that email list for the pre-orders, I already gave the secret away to them. So if you're listening and you already know the answer, you don't count. You're not allowed to play along. This is for new people who are trying to figure it out. You already got insider information. So, YouTube is not cooperating. I hope everything's clear on Instagram. I know it's clear on Facebook, and we get a good signal. Technology, happy hour at Coach Brew HQ, coming to you from the office, having a little bourbon, sipping a little Maker's Mark, and celebrating the launch of the book. I'll sign. Who's this order from? Okay, you sign a book, and then I'll answer another question. If you have any questions, you can comment. Chime in on the comments. This one is to Barry Gabloff. There we go. Shout out Barry Gabloff. So. Anyone wants to be my help desk or IT person, that would be fabulous, because we're having problems with the YouTube feed and the live feed there. So that was the first book. Just sign that. It's available at beyondstadiumstatus.com. It is the only place it's available. The book was banned from every major retailer. Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Hudson News in the airports, Target, Walmart, and Scamazon. Banned everywhere. Coach Brew, what's in it? Why is it banned everywhere? Is it X-rated, adult content, obscene? No. I banned it from all those platforms because they're in the business of making themselves money. They're not in the business of helping authors connect with readers. You don't get a customer list when someone buys it from a retailer. I want that direct person-to-person relationship with my customers, my readers. And that's why I chose to go the route of self-publishing and only selling it via my own website. So if you think about it, if you own a restaurant, you're not selling your food somewhere else. Yeah, sure, you might deliver, you might have takeout, but you welcome your guests, you get to know who they are, you have a customer list, you curate that list, you treat them really well, give them a fabulous experience from start to finish, follow through with them afterwards. That's what I want to be able to do as an author. I had an international bestseller on Amazon with Stadium Status, and it was the #1 new release in 2017, and I had no idea who bought all those copies. And it's kind of like a one-night stand versus a relationship. People bought it, and you didn't know who they were, you didn't get to know them, and I prefer this business model the way this is set up. So that's why I did that the way I have. BeyondStadiumStatus.com is where it's at. Next question was, can you share a secret about the book nobody knows? Well, I already told you the cover is kind of a secret. That some people know. I wouldn't say nobody knows. Some people know, but not everybody. And so it's the first secret. If you can figure out what the cover design is based on, think music. There's your hint. Think music, okay? You can figure out what it's designed based on. I will send you a signed copy of it. First person that can chime in with that answer. On Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, when the YouTube feed comes up, whichever the case may be. And let's do that. So another secret about the book that nobody knows. Let's see. What's another secret about the book nobody knows? A secret about the book nobody knows. Well, then it wouldn't be a secret because then all of you would, in fact, know. So I guess I could just tell you that there's only one chapter in the whole book. Yeah, it's a thick book. It's 240 pages. There's only one chapter. And so here's kind of a little inside baseball secret type thing is, Mark wanted to know that. Shout out to Mark for sending in a question. You can do that in the comments on Facebook. I can't see anything on Instagram because my phone's clipped to the table and not facing me. So anyway, it's only one chapter long for a reason. And this is a not so fun fact, sad fact actually. We probably ought to have a candlelight vigil, moment of silence or something for this. But 85% of all people who buy a nonfiction book never open it. You heard that correctly. 85% of people who buy a nonfiction book don't open it. Of the 15% who do, and I've written about this, some of you may have read this in my newsletter or on my blog. You can go to coachbrew.com to sign up for the newsletter. Of the 15%, the very small percentage who do open the book, 75% of them only read one chapter. Why is that, Coach Brew? That's a great question. I'm glad you asked. It's because, honestly, I think most nonfiction books are boring. They don't tell a good story. They don't incorporate elements of story or intrigue. They are all sort of formulaic. I know a lot of authors who basically have written the same book 9 times. They have 9, 10, 15, however many books. But it's the same concept with a different setting, different character's name. I mean, right down to the same font and everything on the cover. It's just a different colored cover. They've essentially written the same book, but they just changed the scenery and sort of the premise within a niche. Anyway, so I think that's why most people only read a chapter and then tune out. So what I want to do is I want to make it an easy win. You know, if you read one chapter, you will have read the whole book. Now, it's not one giant long-ass chapter. There's headings and subheadings and themes. So basically, I wrote a bunch of chapters, and I just took the numbers off. So that's what I did to, you know, just, I mean, if you don't know my personality by now, that's kind of me. I'm kind of snarky. You know, like the cover of the book, this one, cover of the book, this is a book by John Brubaker. The name of this book is Beyond Stadium Status. And then the back cover, the name of the font, and what my design budget was for the cover design, for the whole book design. It's just kind of fun, and that's my personality. You know, I try not to take life or anything too seriously. Life's too short, and I think when it comes to writing and your business, whatever your business is, mine's writing to a large extent, if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. So sort of the inside baseball, the secret nobody knows until they crack it open and read it, is a disgustingly low number of people in at least in America, read. Like, there aren't a lot of readers. You know, people would rather be entertained than educated. So I tried to write an entertaining book that's fun, tells some good, intriguing stories, and kind of hide the medicine in the candy. You know, it's that's the crux of this book, and also Stadium Status is it's kind of like if you have a dog or a pet, like a dog or a cat, how do you give them medication? You got to hide, like, take like a little treat or a piece of ham or cheese, and you hide the medication in the treat. And that's sort of what I've tried to do with the book. So that's the second question. We're going to sign another order. Who do we have here? This person, if you're one of my Facebook friends, you see him commenting an awful lot on my posts, and just has probably the best sense of humor of anybody I know. Patrick O'Malley, 617 Patrick is his website. It's also his phone number. And Pat is of the New England Pats. He's from Boston, and he's one of the funniest human beings you'll ever meet. He's an author, speaker, thought leader, social media expert. He was one of the top young speakers a couple of years ago, or top young speakers. He's awarded that by the National Speakers Association. He's awesome. He's hilarious. He can get away with saying things I can't. So I'm very jealous of him in that regard. Like, he can just say some things and people won't get offended. If I said the same thing, you know, like, people would be coming out with torches and pitchforks and axes, and like, I'd get canceled. So anyway, Patrick's awesome, and if you need a social media expert, he's your guy. So yeah, I have awesome readers, don't I? I think so. If you have questions, feel free to chime in on the chat. Feel free to fire away. We're signing books. They're available at beyondstadiumstatus.com. The live stream on YouTube is an epic failure, and it is making me want to throw my MacBook out the window. I don't know why it's not working, but it's not working. So that makes me sad, and I don't know what to do about it. Anyway, we're going to give up on that. It's officially a failure, that experiment, but we're on Instagram and Facebook, and very happy those are working. Next question. Advice you would give a new writer. So this isn't just writing advice. This is advice for, I don't want to say it's so broad. This is advice for everybody and anybody, but it's advice for most people, and not just for writers. And the advice is applicable for a college student, a high school student looking to get into college, anyone in any industry who wants to elevate and separate themselves from the competition. Okay? Are you ready for the answer? Build a personal brand. It's that simple. Build a personal brand. I am blown away by how many entrepreneurs wantrepreneurs in many cases will reach out to me, and they will be using a Hotmail address, an email address that's a Hotmail account. Fun fact, I was teaching at the college a few years ago. I use this example all the time. I had a student email me. They're supposed to use their student account, like the .edu email account at the college. I had a student email me. Their email address was bonghits420@beer.com. Yeah, what kind of first impression are you making? In large part today, because we're so wired, is your email address. And you want to look professional, so you need to buy the domain name that is your name. You also want to buy the misspelling of your name. It's like if you go to coachbrew.com, but you spelled brew, B-R-E-W, instead of the way I spell it, B-R-U, it will redirect to the correct site. My email address is john@coachbrew.com. It's personal branding. You just want to build that authority. And that's for an author. The word authority has the word author in it. But it's also for anybody. If you're applying to colleges and your email address is like bob@bobsmith.com, and everyone else is sending in a Gmail account or a Hotmail or whatever, Yahoo, that person reviewing your application is going to look at your email address and say, does this kid have his own website? And today, especially with digital footprints, everyone is Googling everyone else as part of their due diligence, the research, maybe even part of their first impression. So if you're a kid, college, high school, and you have a website, it could be a one-page static site. You have a website set up, you just elevated and separated yourself from the competition. Parents out there listening, and this is, again, best advice. Parents out there listening. First of all, you ought to have the domain name. You ought to own the electronic cyberspace real estate that is your first name, your last name.com. You should just have that for reputation management. But you should also buy the domain name of your kids' names. Like I bought my kids' first name and Brubaker.com, both of my children. So they, when they're old enough and they want to build their own brand, can manage their reputation, create that digital footprint, and create that personal brand that is uniquely them in a world where most people take the simple, easy path of least resistance that is using somebody else's site, somebody else's online real estate, so to speak. And it's kind of like the difference between renting an apartment and owning a home and owning the real estate that your home is built on. You want to own that real estate that is your domain name. So that is my best advice for an aspiring author, an aspiring anything, anybody. Build your personal brand, okay? Media appearances, tons of them available on my site. That helps me build my personal brand. I have a press kit on there. I don't share that to impress you. I share it to impress upon you. These are things that people are doing their research. They're going to study. And if you have that and someone else doesn't, you just elevated your status in the person's eyes, the decision maker's eyes, whatever industry it is. I gave you a couple examples, but I think people need to spend more time building their personal brand. And I don't mean tweeting. Tweeting is not building a personal brand. It could destroy your personal brand. There are people who lost jobs on the night of January 6th because they didn't have the self-control not to say horrible, horrible things. Both sides of the aisle, not getting political, listen, non-political, political commentary. Literally, people lost their jobs for saying nasty things on January 6th. Actions have consequences. Think before you hit send, and that's part of your digital footprint too, that stuff. So yeah, that's my best advice. Let's sign another book. If you haven't picked up a copy, you can go to beyondstadiumstatus.com, pick up a copy. This next copy is for someone named Tyler. So here we go. And then we'll get to a couple more questions. I'm still angry at YouTube. They are not cooperating. So and while I am not traveling the world speaking, I am traveling cyberspace speaking. We're doing virtual speaking gigs, virtual keynotes, virtual Q&A sessions, virtual coaching. And if you want to reach out to me, john@coachbrew.com for that. Happy to come virtually via Zoom, or if you have your own platform you want to use, speak to you on Beyond Stadium Status. Engage your leadership team, talk about some strategies you can take out of the stadium and bring into your company. If you're not the decision maker, you want to put me in touch with the decision maker at your company, that would be wonderful as well. I'll give you a great deal on some books. I know the guy that sets the price on all my books. And rumor has it he has some flexibility with that if you're buying in bulk. 3 copies is not bulk. No, sorry. Okay? Reality check. I hope you had a great week and you're having a good Friday. Let's sign another one and then I'll take another question. This is for Andrew. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Tyler. Thank you to everybody who's purchased a copy of the book. Appreciate all of you very much. This is, I think this is book number 13 or 14 for me, including one I co-authored. And, which is my favorite? They all are for different reasons. It's kind of like a coach. That's the coach in me. What's your favorite championship? The next one. What's your favorite win? The next one. What's your favorite book? For me, I love them all, but probably the next one. And fun fact, I wrote 2 books during the pandemic. The next one, we're just finalizing the cover. The editing is all done, and that should be out pretty soon as well. So yeah, while everyone was sort of lamenting how horrible quarantine was, the lockdown, 2020, honestly, and I've written about this, honestly, 2020 was one of the best years of my life. In many, many ways. My physical and mental health were great. 2019, I had a bunch of physical health challenges. We're past that now, which is wonderful. And I was incredibly productive. I just done recently a press hit on WGAN's morning show. Shout out to Matt Gagnon. And we talked about the pandemic is it could either make or break you. And you see a lot of people, it's either made them or broken them. A lot of businesses, make or break. And a lot of it, yeah, is circumstance, environment, industry. But more of it is being a problem solver and, what you make of it. Isaac Newton, when they had I think it was the bubonic plague, he was a student at Cambridge University and was sent home from Cambridge and invented his theory on gravity and also invented calculus while he was in lockdown. During that same era, Shakespeare wrote Macbeth. So I'm reading about, like, during the early days of the lockdown, I was reading about, like, what did other people do during, this isn't the first pandemic that the world has ever known. It's just the first one that we've lived through. What have other people done in the past? Some amazing things have been done. So I wanted to see, what can I do? And just take steps every day towards that. So yeah, that's sort of how all of this was born. And 2020 is a great year. And Maker's Mark is a great bourbon. They don't pay me to say that either, but shout out to Maker's Mark, Nectar of the Gods. It's happy hour here. I said I'd take another question and then we'd sign more. So next question. Interesting writing quirk. What's an interesting writing quirk that I have? An interesting writing quirk I have is I love handwriting things. Some of you have probably gotten a handwritten card or a handwritten note from me. I also love pens, like a good pen. And when I say a good pen, I don't mean like an expensive pen. There's a difference between quality and cost, especially when it comes to pens. The best pen I've ever used is this. It looks like a cheap plastic pen. It's a Muji pen, and it is an inexpensive plastic pen, yes, and you can see how much ink is in it. It's clear, but it's Japanese, and it's really high quality. You can't find it at like CVS or Walmart or Target or anywhere. You have to order it online from the company Muji. It's M-U-J-I. They make amazing pens, and they make amazing little notebooks, notepads. And why are they amazing? Because no matter what angle you hold the pen at and how the ink dries or how the ink flows is consistent. And it dries on Muji's paper really quickly. I'm not left-handed, but if you're left-handed, you automatically kind of run your hand across the very thing you just wrote on, and it'll smear. And that's got to be aggravating, being a left-handed person in a right-handed world. So a lefty told me about this and recommended it to me, and that's all I use. I sign books with a Sharpie. This is not a permanent marker, but it's a black pen. So I'm kind of quirky about pens and paper that I use. I handwrite everything first. A writer once told me that if you want to write something that's very heartfelt and has a lot of emotion, write it. Don't type it. Write it. And if you really want to take that to another whole level, handwrite it in cursive. So there are a lot of millennials, Gen Z, who are saying, you might not know what handwriting is. Second, you might not know what cursive is. So cursive is like a signature. So you can go and find a signature font or script font on your word processor. That's how old farts handwrite things, like me. So I will handwrite just about everything I do in cursive first, and then go back and kind of transcribe that into type and do the editing in there. I do one pass of editing myself, and then I hand it off to an editor. But yeah, that's sort of my big writing quirk, is to try and write with more emotion. I handwrite in cursive most of the time. If I have a notepad, I'm going to print it in the notepad just because it's quick, easy to read. But when I am, quote, sitting down to write, I handwrite everything. We'll sign one more and then answer the next question. Thank you to everybody who's hanging with us here on Instagram and Facebook Live on a Friday night. Happy hour at Coach Brew HQ. Look forward to hosting people here when this is all over and we don't have to social distance anymore. Signing this copy for Shelby. So yeah, if you want a signed copy, you go to beyondstadiumstatus.com and we'll get you hooked up. It's not available anywhere else. If you're just tuning in, welcome. And I apologize that if you're trying to catch us on YouTube, that is not cooperating for some reason. And I don't know what to do about it. I wish I did. But yeah, we're going to give it one more try and let it refresh. See what we can do. But yeah, that's my big writing quirk. Next question. And this is from Stacy. Stacy says, how much time do you spend a day writing? Just about every day. I try and I don't like to kind of break the momentum. So I try and write an hour a day every day. A lot of times it'll be the first hour. It might not be quote formal writing. It might just be sitting down, jotting down ideas. But that's what I try and do just about every day. Sometimes I wake up really early and then I'll write the first hour in my house before anyone gets up. When things are nice and quiet, I just make a pot of coffee, have a cup of coffee and write. Other times it'll be the first hour that I'm in the office. I block my schedule so I don't have appointments. Just about ever for the first hour of the workday. So I can spend that on writing, which is high priority for me. So that's what I try and do. I try and keep the streak alive. And, that's writing a book, a 240-page book seems like a huge undertaking. If you write an hour a day, you know what? It's not. It's not a huge undertaking. It's just an hour a day. You can find, and maybe writing's not your thing, but you're looking for time. Well, you can find an hour a day easily. Get off of social media during the workday, and you probably just freed up 30 minutes easily, right? Stop checking your email all the time. You just saved yourself another half hour, probably. Check it once mid-morning and once mid-afternoon. Boom, done. Just saved you a ton of time. The other thing you can do is get up a couple minutes earlier, go to bed a couple minutes later. Find time on both of those ends and in the middle for whatever it is you're doing, and dedicate a block of time to exactly that. It's really that simple. Don't complicate it, okay? Got a couple more and another question. Before we get to the question, or before I sign 2 other books, I would like to share this. If you can figure out where that cover concept came from, I'll send you a free signed copy of the book. If you can figure that out, I can tell you it's not from any other books. I didn't copy it from, anything in the literary world. It's an outside the box idea from an outside the box group, and that's what I like. I think your best ideas will come from outside your industry. Last question. Do you get writer's block? And if so, how do you prevent it? Get to that in a second. You'll sign one more book. Do you get writer's block? This is to James. Writer's block is an interesting thing. And some people swear it's a thing. Some people fight it. I don't believe in writer's block. Thank you, James. Your copy is on the way to you. I don't believe in writer's block at all. And here's why. I think you get inside your head and what you're doing is judging your writing before you even put pen to paper or hands to keyboard. And that's not how anyone should write or create anything. If you went on your phone and called an Uber and had them pick you up, and you wanted them to take you, across town for you to, go to a restaurant back when people could actually eat at restaurants, would you believe the driver if when you got in the Uber, he came in to pick you up, and when you got in the Uber, he just sat there with the car in park? And you're like, what are we doing? I wanted you to take me to the Olive Garden. And he's like, well, I would, but I have driver's block. I can't right now. I'm not feeling it. You'd think he was an idiot. You would think he was deranged. And you wouldn't believe that anyone could have driver's block. Like, that's why I don't believe in writer's block. I think that you automatically just judge the quality of what you're doing instead of just typing. Let someone else judge it, or you judge it later. So no, I don't believe in writer's block. I think you need to have something to say and somewhere to say it, of course. And I think the best thing you can do is keep an idea journal. And what do I mean by idea journal? Just a little pad, kind of like a journalist, a reporter would take to cover a story in the news. Keep it in your back pocket or your coat pocket, your breast pocket of your coat, and carry a pen. When you get an idea, jot it down. I don't care if you're sitting at lunch, if you're sitting in a meeting, you're at your desk, you're in your car, pull over, write it down. Because when you get that idea, ideas tend to be fleeting. They tend to come to you when you're not trying to think of ideas. That's why you get your best ideas in the shower, right? How do you capture your ideas in the shower? Get a dry erase marker and write it on the shower wall. When you get out of the shower, take a picture of what you wrote and then clear it off. But you want to capture ideas. And if you're a writer or an aspiring writer, the best thing you can do is just start capturing ideas and dedicating time to write. You'll never have writer's block if you're constantly letting your mind out to play and just exploring your creative side. You'll never have anything vaguely resembling writer's block if you don't judge what you're doing. You just write, How do you run? You put one foot in front of the other. You don't think about like how long your stride is, what part of your foot is striking the ground. Was that stride long enough? Am I going fast enough? Oh, look, are my shoes tied the right way? You just run. Well, you just write, just like you just run or you just drive. So it's really that simple, in my humble but highly accurate opinion. So thank you. Sign one more. This is to Justine. So thank you, Justine. Appreciate you. And we'll sign one more. And I want to remind you that if you can figure out the cover concept, I'll send you a free copy of the book. Where did I get the cover concept idea from? I'm not going to tell you at the end of the video either, because this video will live on and someone will watch the replay. So I'm not going to just put it in the comments. So you either know it or you don't. You either got it or you don't. Sorry. So lastly, where do you get the book? You get it at beyondstadiumstatus.com. Nowhere else. Jeff Bezos is he was the richest billionaire in the world, the CEO of Amazon. Elon Musk just apparently surpassed him. So he's the second richest guy in the world. And I don't feel the need to allow him to manipulate the price of my book and discount it down to the point where I don't make any royalty. So yeah, you need to get it at beyondstadiumstatus.com. That's me drawing a line in the sand. As a small business owner, I support other small business owners. I try not to shop at big box retailers. Try and support local people in my community who do quality work and stand behind what they do. I encourage you to do the same thing. If you don't like the book, I'll send you your $20 back. It's that simple. Free shipping. And if you don't like it, I'll send you your $20 back. That's how confident I am you're going to enjoy it. And that's at beyondstadiumstatus.com. You could also pick up, if you haven't read Stadium Status, you don't need to read them sequentially. You can pick this up and read it first. It would help if you read Stadium Status first. So shameless plug, you can buy that at my website too. Or you can go to stadiumstatusbook.com. Get them both, right? And very last thing is, if you want to book me to speak to your organization, reach out to me directly. My email's on my website, coachbrew.com, and we could schedule that. A virtual speaking gig, virtual Q&A, book signing, copies of the books for all your employees or team members. I speak to colleges, professional amateur sports teams, and corporations. My message travels well to multiple audiences. Leadership performance, the fundamentals of the fundamentals, folks. It's really that simple. But it's a fun book. It's an easy read. Again, it's only one chapter, 240 pages, but one chapter. Kind of a fun format that you'll see once you dive into it. And I encourage you to pick up a copy at your convenience. CoachBrew.com is my email, or is my website. It's Friday. It's late. Long week. Beyond Stadium Status will also get you to the order page for the book. So thank you for joining me on Facebook, if you're on Facebook Live, Instagram, if you're on Instagram Live, Instagram TV, and YouTube. Get your act together. Why can I not live stream on YouTube? So step your game up, YouTube. Anyway, it's Coach Brew signing off. Have a great weekend. We'll be coming at you with more content about the book, fun stuff, and then also I'll do another live signing next week. So great visiting with you all, and have a great weekend. Boy, I wish I knew how to turn this off.